And it's funny how stories with books have their own life. They have their own soul and their own way of kind of getting into the world or not. Hopefully most do. And this particular book I wrote in English, and after I finished writing it, it took 1 week to find a publisher for it in German. So it's been on the market in German language for over a year and actually doing quite well in the German language countries. And now I have finally also published it in its original in English. And because the German version has been going so well, I've also followed up in German language. I'm multilingual. I have 2 passports. I grew up in the US and in Europe. I've already done also another book, a beautiful DVD with Paul MacIsaac sitting right here about dolphins, and also this beautiful card deck with Francine in German, which is also doing very well. It's on Amazon continuously amongst the first 10 to 20 in the category shamanism, usually between 5,000 to 10,000 of all books on Amazon, so that's pretty amazing, considering there's millions of. But writing is not so easy. I know that there are several authors here also, not only the ones talking here tonight, and it's really, to get your first book done is really quite an ordeal. And let me tell you, after you get through that, it gets a lot easier. Yeah, you figure out what you need to do to kind of discipline yourself, to sit down and do it and focus and still remain in a good space without getting all into your brain. So this was the first book I started 15 years ago in Manini Beach, and it took me 15 years. The reason being that I would get sidetracked by the dolphins, go swimming with the dolphins, I would go dancing up the hill, I would travel to Asia, I would travel to Brazil, then I had to make money, I had a job, and relationship, and da-da-da-da-da. No time. Darn, wanted to write, didn't do it again. What really made me get the Sitzfleisch, that's how we say in German, it means, it's a expression, it means the sitting meat. Yeah. To get it done were my twin daughters, who are now 4, they're at home now and probably not in bed yet. When you get twins, it's not like you have one and you kind of rock it in the front and you go walking around and showing off your baby. You're really stuck at home because they're so heavy to have 2 of them, and then you have to do a double set of diapers. You have to wean them at the same time. I have a friend who they also have twins, and he's like, this is like a labor camp here the first 2 years. It really is. And now they're 4, and now the fun part has started. And of course, it was wonderful also in the beginning. But they really made me sit at home because I like to go about. I like to meet people and do things. And they really got me stuck at home. And I was like, okay, I'm going to enjoy their company. I'm going to enjoy being at home, and I'm going to write this book. And I really enjoyed it. It was such a beautiful year with my 2 little girls at home and writing this book. That's pretty much all that I did. And I'm going to read you, because our time is limited tonight, just a few paragraphs from each, or from a few chapters, to give you an impression. And so it's called The Opening, Dolphins, Whales, and Star Beings, A Journey Home. The first chapter, The Opening, and I'll explain to you in a little while I call it The Opening. By the time I am 30, having gone through numerous experiences with employers, I come to the conclusion that my only boss on this planet is the Earth herself. Earth gives me a home, food, and clothing. I talk to her, ask her questions. She answers. Sometimes she talks to me without my asking her. I do what she tells me. follow her guidance, nobody else's. The universe created heaven and earth, not heaven and hell. So at that point in my life, I had already quite successfully had a career as a journalist with quite a few renowned magazines as both freelance and editor, magazines like Marie Claire, Cosmopolitan, So I've done this whole mainstream thing, and also quite successful, and also enjoyed it. But at one point, it was just like, so what comes now? Is this it? And I didn't receive answers to my deeper questions, and I also traveled a lot, like. Spent 3 years with a backpack, no health insurance, nothing, because I just wanted to know what's out there, you know. And I figured, wow, I'm a woman in this day and age. I have passports I can travel with. I don't need a lot of money, and I'm going to go and discover the world. So this chapter is about traveling. Life is here, life is now, and I love it. I am traveling again, seeing how wondrous and beautiful this world is. Traveling is like meditation to me, like spending time in nature or doing yoga. It helps me let go of my daily chores and agendas. I connect with my soul purpose and passion, come into a state of just being again. So I traveled all over the place, and during my travels, something interesting started happening. I started having these visions and angel experience and star being experiences, and I started remembering from my childhood that it was like that also, and started putting it together. And these are the things that I call the opening. That's why this book is called The Opening. I call these events openings because they are exactly that, opening up to more than the eye can see, to the invisible world. The visible world is what we can see: stones, plants, animals, people, and everything humans have created on Earth. The invisible world is what flows and pulsates behind all this, the soul of everything. It is what makes life as we know it take place, where we come from when we are born, and where we return to when we die. The Hawaiian Huna tradition calls this life force mana. The yogis of India name this energy prana. It also includes many beings and spirit entities there to help and guide us. That has been their job for eons. So it started to slowly come together for me. And one of the places I also traveled to the first time 20 years ago was Hawaii. First island I went to was Kauai, and I rented a car and pitched my tent in the middle of the night at the lighthouse, not knowing that you're not allowed to do this. The next morning a ranger chased me away. Sleeping, but awake in my dream. Two beings have entered the tent. They are taller than humans by several heads. I know immediately that they are spirit protectors of Hawaii. They are beautiful male spirit shapes, carrying spears and looking fierce. They appear brave and pure-hearted to me. I am alert, but not afraid. "Who are you?" they ask. I tell them my name and where I have traveled from. "What do you want here?" is their question. I tell them I felt called to come here for many years by the ancient land as well as by the whales and dolphins. They look at me intently, silently studying me. I feel their spirit eyes piercing my soul and heart, checking me out, scanning me, just like the dolphins do. Then, suddenly, "You are welcome here," they say, and disappear. I know I have passed their tests. So I always have good experiences in Hawaii. I feel very, very welcome and safe and protected here. Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Joy and Brenda, here in